Young girl's heartwarming plea. My arms are tired reveals incredible love that transformed everything in Maplewood. In the quaint town of Maplewood, where the leaves donned their autumnal coats and festival lights danced in the cool breeze, 10-year-old Lily Carter stood beside her mother, Sarah. Her cheeks rosy with a chill, Lily's heart fluttered with excitement as the vibrant harvest festival unfolded around them. Yet beneath the laughter and joy, her small frame felt the weight of too much responsibility. "My arms are tired," she whispered to Sarah, her voice almost lost in the joyful chaos, but those words carried a weight nobody could ignore. They echoed with both exhaustion and profound love, like a gentle tug on the heartstrings of the whole community. Sarah knelt beside her, brushing a strand of hair from Lily's cheek. "I know, sweetheart," she replied, her voice warm but threaded with fatigue. In this moment, as they prepared for a bakery fundraising event, the laughter of their friends blended with a deeper emotional stir. Lily could hear the crunch of fallen leaves underfoot, feel the crispness of the air, but all she could think of was how desperately she wanted to help her mom. Life had hit hard since Sarah lost her job, and every day was a delicate dance, balancing dreams and reality. As the night progressed, they set up a bustling booth, surrounded by smiling faces and the scent of baked goods. However, the harmony was shattered when whispers began to swirl. A neighbor's unexpected donation had sparked misunderstandings that twisted friendships into frayed strings. Lily's heart raced with confusion. Why would anyone judge kindness? Within this small community, the bonds of friendship, once so tight, now teetered on the edge of misunderstanding. But Lily was determined. She believed in the power of love and kindness. "Maybe if we show them, they'll understand," she murmured to herself, glancing at her mother. With renewed spirit, she rallied the neighborhood kids, all eager to support her mother's dream of opening a bakery. It morphed from a small idea into a vision, a cozy place filled with the warmth of pastries and the aroma of coffee. She imagined families gathering, laughter echoing against the walls like a gentle reminder that they were all in this together. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Days turned into frantic weeks, and just as hope began to flicker like a dying ember, a wealthy benefactor appeared, promising help. The offer shone like a lighthouse in a turbulent sea, yet shadows loomed behind the generosity. What were the real motives? The air thickened with tension in the small town as Lily stood tall, ready to confront not just her doubts, but the societal prejudices that whispered of worth and value. Her pulse quickened as she faced the gathered crowd at the festival. With a mix of fear and hope, she prepared to speak. "We're not just in this for us," she began, the sound of her voice trembling. Lily's heart was a drum echoing in her chest. Could one little girl, with all her love, truly make a difference? She was ready to redefine their dreams, to show that kindness has no price, and maybe, just maybe, the real heart of Maplewood was waiting to be reignited by their collective spirit. Lily took a deep breath, feeling the buzz of excitement and anxiety ripple through her. As she stood in front of the crowd, their faces illuminated by twinkling string lights, she focused on the people she loved. They seemed uncertain, whispering amongst themselves. It felt like they were on the verge of something big or something broken. "My mom and I need your help," she said, her voice stronger now. "This bakery isn't just a dream for us. It's a way for all of us to come together to heal." The words hung in the air, full of hope yet heavy with the weight of truth. She noticed a few frowns and crossed arms in the crowd. People were still hesitant. They weren't just buying pastries. They were buying an idea, a promise of renewal in their small town. "After all that happened, I thought we were supposed to stand by each other," Lily continued, feeling a warmth rise to her cheeks. Remember the time when Mrs. Thompson baked a cake for Tommy's birthday, even though she had just lost her job? Or when everyone brought over food to help the Wilsons after their roof caught fire? We've always been here for one another. The quiet murmurs began to shift. Heads nodded. A few voices chimed in, recalling their shared moments of kindness and unity. Sensing the shift, Lily pressed on, a small smile breaking through her nervousness. We can bring that back. Let's create a space where everyone is welcome. A place where we can share happiness and maybe a few secrets too. The crowd looked more engaged now, even as some still held back. Lily glanced at her mother, who stood watching with tears shimmering in her eyes. Sarah gave her a subtle nod, a silent encouragement that filled Lily with courage. We don't have to face this alone, she said, speaking from her heart. Together, we can turn misunderstanding into friendship. Just then, a familiar voice echoed from the back. We believe in you, Lily. It was Tommy's mom, coming forward with a smile. We've seen the magic you and your mom create in the kitchen. It's time to let everyone else see it too. A ripple of murmurs coursed through the crowd as others began to step closer. One by one, they shared their stories, recounting moments of kindness, laughter, and resilience, each echoing the spirit of Maplewood. A sense of shared history formed between them, weaving a stronger thread than any misunderstanding could ever unravel. For the first time that evening, laughter broke out, intermingled with the aroma of fresh bread from the booth. Conversations bloomed like the flowers in spring as neighbors reached out to one another. They shared not only the hope for a bakery, but also the promise to rediscover the power of togetherness. But just when it felt like momentum had been secured, a voice from the back shouted, "What about the costs? Opening a bakery takes money." The air thickened again, as doubts still hung in the corners, hesitant expressions flickering back into view. Lily's heart sank momentarily. Would they spiral back into doubt? Or could she spark another wave of hope? Her mind raced. What if we turned it into a community effort? She proposed, excitement wrapping around her words. We can host bake sales, cooking classes, and even have a donation box. Together, we can raise the funds. Cheers began to rise, but the murmur of uncertainty lingered. But can we really trust this benefactor? An older gentleman questioned, his brows furrowed in skepticism. Lily looked around, remembering the faces gathering around her, the emotion that danced in their eyes. An idea sparked. She took a step closer. Let us meet with him. We can talk together, ask questions, and if it doesn't feel right, we walk away. The crowd paused, their expressions shifting from doubt to intrigue. Lily felt a renewed surge within her. Had she struck a chord? Could they really bring everyone together, the entire town, in search of a collective dream? The atmosphere buzzed with possibility, and somewhere deep down, a flicker of hope sparked. Just then, she noticed movement in the back of the crowd. A man stepped forward, his demeanor both calm and commanding. Was he the benefactor? The buzzing excitement soon turned into tense anticipation. As he approached, reality hit. Let us hear him out, Lily thought, her heart racing. Was this the moment everything changed? Little did she know, the answer to that question would reshape everything she believed. Lily could feel the tension in the air as the man stepped forward, catching the light in a way that silhouetted him against the twinkling bulbs strung between the trees. The murmur of the crowd faded into an expectant hush. Questions buzzed aggressively in her mind, but she took a deep breath and focused on the moment. With each step he took, she felt the weight of their collective hopes resting on her shoulders. The man, tall and broad-shouldered, wore a gentle smile, but it was his eyes that captured Lily's attention. They sparkled with a mixture of curiosity and kindness, making her heart flutter with a mix of fear and excitement. "Hi, everyone," his voice was deep but soothing, instantly bringing a sense of calm. "I'm Nathan." He stopped a few feet from her, surveying the crowd with a gaze that seemed to draw them in. "I heard about the dream of opening a bakery, and I want to help." Gasps trickled through the gathering. Skepticism mixed with intrigue painted the faces in the crowd, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Lily could feel the collective breaths fill with hope. Why do you want to help? Someone asked from the back. It was an understandable question, one that bounced around in the air more than once. Nathan chuckled softly. This town has a warmth I've rarely seen elsewhere. I believe in community, what it can do together. When I heard about your idea, it struck a chord in my heart. I want to see Maplewood flourish again. He paused. A bakery brings people together. It's not just about pastries. It's about moments shared, joy created. Lily noticed a few nodding heads. Bit by bit, uncertainty seemed to wane. She felt emboldened and smiled back at Nathan, sensing their energies align. Are you sure you're the right person? Someone challenged again. How do we know you'll stick around? Nathan nodded, acknowledging the concern. I get it. We all know trust is built over time. I'm not just here to drop off money and vanish. I want to be involved, to learn about this community through the bakery. Think of it as a partnership. The crowd murmured again, and for a moment, the air felt electric, alive with possibilities. Gaining momentum, Lily piped up. What if we bring him into our plans? He can meet us regularly, help us, and we can all be in this together. The warmth of her enthusiasm felt magnetic. People started to spark with ideas, glancing around, lending themselves to what Nathan offered. Let us put together a proposal, a woman shouted. We can show him who we are. Encouraging voices bounced around the crowd, mirroring the excitement blossoming inside Lily. Yes, we can drive our vision, not just for a bakery, but for a stronger Maplewood. As cheers erupted, Lily glanced at her mother, who wore an expression of pride and relief. They were no longer standing on the precipice of despair. Hope was coursing through them now. Just as the energy peaked, Nathan raised his hands. Let us organize a meeting. Bring your ideas. I want to understand how I can support and partner with you all. Lily felt the apprehension flicker back. What if it wasn't enough? What if they couldn't pull it off? But the hope ignited again as the crowd cheered for Nathan's engagement. The fear faded in waves, and a gentle wave of laughter swept across the gathering as they began talking amongst themselves, planning. Suddenly, a child ran through the crowd, giggling with a small cupcake smeared across her cheeks. Lily watched, her heart swelling with the undeniable connection shared among them. A small laugh escaped her lips. After all, a bakery was more than just a place to gather baked goods. It was a cornerstone for memories yet to be made, a place where resilience and love could rise just like bread in the oven. But then Nathan's tone shifted slightly. I still have some conditions in mind. Lily's heart raced again, bracing for whatever came next. What now? What would it cost them in the end? Lily shifted on her feet as Nathan continued, the sparkle in his eyes dimming a bit as he cleared his throat. I know this might sound serious, but I want to be transparent. To make this work, I need some guarantees. The crowd quieted, and the earlier lightness of the moment seemed to hang in the air, thick and tense. What kind of guarantees? Someone asked cautiously. I want to see commitment from all of you, Nathan said, hands spread apart as if he were balancing the weight of their hopes. I need to feel that this is a true partnership, not just a fleeting idea. You must show me that you're invested not just in time, but in heart and spirit. A few people exchanged glances, some shifting uncomfortably. Lily felt the knot tighten in her stomach. Commitment meant a promise that had been so fragile in their recent struggles. Are you asking for money? A man in the front shouted, his voice shaky with concern. We can't risk what little we have left. Nathan shook his head. No, it's not about money. It's about actions. I need workshops, brainstorming sessions, and a solid plan. I can't do this alone, and I don't want to be a distant benefactor. It's about involvement. I want to understand your vision, your dreams. Lily felt a flicker of hope. Workshops meant they would learn, grow, and bond. We can do this, she called out, raising her voice above the low murmurs. Together, we can create something beautiful. It won't be easy, but nothing worth having ever is. The crowd clapped, eyes lighting with renewed energy. Right, a woman exclaimed. Let's turn this into something beautiful. We'll show you we're in this Nathan nodded, looking pleased.
Exactly.
Let us plan our first meeting. And as we lay our groundwork, remember one thing. Commitment means sticking together through challenges and through victories. Lily smiled, feeling the warmth swell in her chest. This was what they needed, a vision born from their shared struggles. Just then, the sound of shuffling footsteps caught her attention. An elderly woman stepped forward, her hands clasped tightly together. I've lived in Maplewood all my life, she began, her voice quivering, yet surprisingly strong. I've seen our town rise and fall, but I do believe in the power of good food to bring us back. I want to offer my recipes and knowledge. They've been passed down in my family for generations. The crowd erupted in applause, and Lily felt tears prick her eyes. This was more than just a bakery, it was the heartbeat of their community, an embodiment of their history and love. Nathan took a step closer, clearly touched. Thank you. This is exactly what I mean by commitment. It's about sharing our stories and coming together. But then, just as they were all caught in the wave of positivity, he added, however, I should mention my support does come with a timeline. If we're not seeing progress, we may need to rethink things. Lily's heart sank. A timeline meant pressure. What if they couldn't meet expectations? The excitement that had just blossomed felt overshadowed by a looming cloud. Can we really do this? She mused aloud, glancing around the crowd. Doubts bubbled beneath the surface, threatening the newfound hope that had ignited moments ago. And in that moment of vulnerability, she felt a weight hang in the air, carrying the question of whether they could turn dreams into reality, or if this was simply another false start. The buzz of anticipation fell into a fragile silence, and Lily knew that the road ahead would not only be challenging, but rocky. As the crowd began to disperse, she couldn't shake her apprehension. Can we make this happen? She whispered to herself. What would it take to prove their worth? Hope stirred within her, but uncertainty tightened its grip. Would they rise to the occasion, or would fear snag their vision? The answer danced just out of reach, leaving her questioning every step ahead. The sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with hues of orange and purple as everyone started to leave the town hall. Lily stood frozen in place, her mind spinning. She could hear laughter and chatter around her, but her heart raced with a mix of fear and determination. She thought of the elderly woman who had shared her recipes and the stories that could weave their community together. It was beautiful, but now there was a clock ticking in the background. How long before Nathan, with all his promises, would decide they weren't moving fast enough? What if we just let it go? She whispered to herself, trying to calm the storm within. Yet the thought felt wrong, like denying a chance to revive Maplewood. She'd lived there her whole life. The smell of fresh bread and home-cooked meals were part of her memories, as rich as her family stories. There had to be a way to keep that warmth alive. She began to walk slowly toward the exit, digesting Nathan's words. If commitment was the key, then perhaps she needed to take the first step. What if she gathered a few people, friends, neighbors, anyone willing to believe in this idea? Couldn't they brainstorm, draw out plans, and lay the foundation for their vision together? Lily! A voice called. It was Mia, her childhood friend, who approached with wide eyes. Hey, did you hear what that lady said? The recipes? That's a pretty big deal. It is, Lily acknowledged, feeling herself smile more genuinely now. I think if we could combine all our strengths, we could do something really special.
Right.
Mia's voice lit up. Where do we even start? Workshops, brainstorming sessions, Nathan mentioned it all. There's that old community center down the street. It's a bit rundown, but worth a shot. It could be our first meeting place. Mia suggested, her enthusiasm contagious. Yes. That's perfect. Lily felt a spark ignite at the thought of organizing something, anything to take this chance. We can invite everyone, the people who spoke tonight, their families, everyone who wants to see Maplewood thrive again. I can talk to my dad about fixing the center, Mia said eagerly. And I can definitely reach out to some of our neighbors, maybe even set up a social media group. Lily felt a wave of hope course through her. Yes. Let us start spreading the word. We need to show Nathan we're serious. He needs to feel our commitment that we'll back up our ideas with action. With renewed energy, they set aside their worries, focusing instead on possibilities. The tension that had gripped Lily transformed into excitement. This was the start of something much bigger than just a plan. This was the revival of their community. But as they continued brainstorming ideas, a lingering anxiety brushed against Lily's heart. Could they truly bring everyone together? Would they be able to show Nathan that they were ready? Let us meet tomorrow. Mia beamed, her enthusiasm unabated. Absolutely. Lily agreed, her heart fluttering. But as the last rays of sun slipped away, she couldn't shake the thought of the timeline Nathan had set. Would they have enough time? With that question hanging heavily in the air, Lily's resolve solidified. We can do this. But it won't be easy. The next morning, she would have to face not only the challenge of pulling her community together, but also the fragile threads of her own doubt. Could they rise to the occasion and truly transform their shared dreams into reality? The winds whispered softly, carrying the questions of what lay ahead. Lily woke up to an unexpected chill in the air, the sun barely peeking through her curtains. The morning light felt muted, as if the world outside was still deep in thought, just like her. She had a list in her mind, a jumbled collection of faces and names of the people she needed to rally. After breakfast, she grabbed a notebook filled with her ideas and stepped outside. The air was crisp, refreshing, and oddly calming. Each breath steadied her racing heart. Today was their chance to take a bold step, and with every step she took toward the community center, she felt a mix of hope and anxiety. When she arrived, she was met by Mia, who was leaning against the center's dilapidated brick facade. You made it! Mia exclaimed, her eyes shining. I reached out to some folks already. They're on board. Really? That's amazing! Excitement surged through Lily, and they quickly settled down on the steps to discuss their strategy. The plan was simple but effective. Bring the community together through the shared warmth of food and fellowship. Mia scribbled notes as Lily described her vision. We could start with a potluck, right? Everyone brings a dish, and we can share the recipes. It's a great way to honor those stories. Exactly. Mia's cheeks were flushed with enthusiasm. And we can even have a little showcase where people share memories associated with their dishes. But who do we invite? I mean, it's one thing to get our friends, but Lily paused. The enormity of bringing everybody together felt heavy on her shoulders. Mia thought for a moment before responding. Why not put up posters and start a social media event? We can share the story of that lady we met last night. I bet people will respond. Something about connecting with the past is appealing. Good idea. We'll make it personal. I want everyone to feel that their involvement is more than just a meal. Lily felt a flicker of warmth kindling in her chest at the thought of uniting her community. This could be a real turning point, a way to reclaim the spirit of Maplewood. The hours flew by as they worked on a flyer, sharing ideas and laughter. As they printed the first batch, the energy in the air shifted. It felt electric, like the anticipation of storms before rain. Just as they finished, a familiar face approached. It was Mrs. Wilkins, the elderly woman whose recipes had sparked this whole venture. Hello, dears. She called out, her frail frame vibrating with excitement. I heard you were up to something big. Mrs. Wilkins. Lily exclaimed. We were just talking about starting a potluck here at the center. Would you like to join us? Oh, I wouldn't miss it for the world, she replied, her voice full of warmth. I can bring my grandmother's famous apple pie, but let me also share the story that goes along with it. Every recipe has a story, you know. A surge of gratitude washed over Lily. This was the moment she needed. Yes, that's what we want. We want everyone to bring their stories and recipes just like how you've always shared yours with me. As Lily and Mia surrounded Mrs. Wilkins with enthusiasm, a notion dawned upon Lily. They weren't just doing this for a community event. They were stitching together a tapestry of memories that could last generations. But as evening approached, shadows lengthened, and Lily's earlier anxiety crept back in. Was it enough? Could they truly reach everyone, especially those who had distanced themselves from the town's heartbeat? Lily took a deep breath and looked around at her friend and the elderly woman bustling with ideas. With each flicker of doubt, she whispered to herself, "We have to try." At that moment, as laughter and buzzing conversations echoed in the old walls, she realized that reviving Maplewood was more than a plan. It was a journey she was determined to see through. Yet, just before they packed up, a small, crumpled note slipped from Mia's pocket onto the floor. Curious, Lily picked it up and read the words scrawled on it. It felt like ice water rushing through her. "Don't let the past drag you down." The weight of the message hung in the air, and Lily wondered, what if the past wasn't as clean-cut as they believed? What if there were deeper wounds to heal before they could truly move forward? As the sun set, she knew that their quest was more complicated than she had anticipated, but she also knew they had to dive deeper into those stories. Would they be ready to face whatever the past held? The morning sun poured into Lily's small kitchen, dust motes dancing in the light, illuminating the half-finished flyers still pinned to her fridge. The words Maplewood Potluck stared back at her, a kaleidoscope of colors representing the unity she longed for. But the note she found last night echoed in her head, reminding her of the shadows lurking beneath the surface. With a fresh cup of coffee in hand, Lily sank into a chair at the table. She was wide awake, but her thoughts swirled like the steam rising above her mug. What could possibly be haunting the town? There were stories buried here, stories of loss, heartache, and maybe even hope. She needed to know them all if she wanted to make this potluck truly resonate with the community. "Mornin'!" Mia burst through the door, her hair messily swept back, but her energy cracking like a whip. "You won't believe who I just talked to." Lily perked up instantly. "Who?" "It's Clara. You remember her? The one with the garden that always seems to be in bloom?" Lily nodded. Clara's vibrant flowers were like the town's heartbeat, always full of life. "She wants to join us," Mia continued, almost bouncing on her feet. "She said she has an incredible heirloom recipe for stuffed zucchini, and she'll share how she learned to make it from her mother." A smile spread across Lily's face. "That's wonderful. Each dish is a glimpse into a life. Those stories will weave this town back together." Still buzzing, Mia plopped down beside Lily, her enthusiasm palpable. "You're right, but I think we need to dig deeper. Those stories are like hidden treasure. We should go talk to some folks and invite them personally. Maybe we can find out if anyone has pasts that they've never shared." Lily's excitement began to curdle into uncertainty. But what if they're not ready to talk? What if there are too many ghosts? Mia placed a reassuring hand over Lily's. "Then we help them. This is not just about food, it's about connection. We embrace every story, the good and the bad. Remember Mrs. Wilkins? Her stories brought us here." Lily nodded, feeling the warmth of resolution wash over her. "All right then. Let us start with Clara and maybe reach out to the Johnsons. Their family has lived here for generations." With determination, they each took a path. Mia decided to head to Clara's garden while Lily set off toward the Johnsons' home, the muffled sound of life surrounding her in every step. The vibrant hues of fall foliage provided a contrast to the dullness she had felt just the day before. It ignited a flicker of excitement, a belief that today could be different. As she approached the Johnsons' house, she noticed a lone figure sitting on the porch, wrapped in a scarf that looked like the comfort of an old friend. Mrs. Johnson, a woman whose presence alone could calm storms, sat with a distant gaze, lost in thought. "Hi, Mrs. Johnson," Lily called, her heart fluttering. "Can we chat?" With a smile that hinted at both strength and vulnerability, Mrs. Johnson beckoned her closer. "Of course, dear. I'd love to." As they exchanged small talk, Lily felt the gentle pull of something deeper. It wasn't the wrinkles around Mrs. Johnson's eyes, the quiet pauses between her words. "Lily," she began, her voice trembling slightly, "sometimes it's the past that holds the keys to moving forward." Lily felt her heart race, and she knew they were on the brink of something profound. But just then, a loud crash resounded from inside the house. Startled, Mrs. Johnson's expression shifted, and for a split second, fear flickered in her eyes. "What was that?" Lily asked, worry creeping into her voice. Mrs. Johnson shook her head. Nothing, dear, just a vase I should get back inside. Before Lily could ask more, the moment slipped away, leaving unanswered questions hanging in the air. As she walked back to her car, one thought clung to her mind. What if Mrs. Johnson's hesitation held not only her past but also the deep vows of the community's heart? An unsettling question lingered. What hidden stories were waiting to be uncovered that could either strengthen their bond or crack it apart? The journey had just begun, and she could feel that the heart of Maplewood had deeper layers than she ever imagined. What awaited them just beneath the surface? Lily settled into her car, her mind racing with thoughts of Mrs. Johnson. That fleeting expression of fear lingered like a shadow, casting doubt on the warmth of their earlier conversation. What had she seen? What haunted her? She turned the ignition, the familiar sound of the engine providing a small comfort as she drove back through Maplewood, her heart full of questions. Before she could dwell too long on her worries, Mia was back, bursting through the door with Clara, her excitement contagious. Clara's presence brightened the room, as though the very flowers she nurtured had infused her with joy. "Lily, you won't believe her garden," Mia exclaimed, practically bouncing. Clara, with a wide smile, made her way over to Lily. "You have to come see it. The zucchini are practically begging to be picked. And I can't wait to share my recipe." Her voice was like music, filled with promise and warmth. Lily smiled, grateful for the spark of joy Clara brought into the room. "I'm so glad you're joining us, Clara. But can I ask you something?" Clara's brow furrowed with curiosity and concern. "Sure, dear. What's on your mind?" Lily hesitated, gathering her courage. "I was just with Mrs. Johnson, and she seemed a bit shaken. There was something behind her eyes, a story that felt like it needed telling." "Do you know anything about that?" Clara's smile faltered, replaced by a distant look. "Oh, Mrs. Johnson," she began, her voice lowering. "Her family has seen things, lived through struggles I can't even imagine. The Johnsons have a history in this town that goes deep. Sometimes, the weight of those memories can feel unbearable." Mia, who had been listening intently, leaned in closer, eager for details. "Why don't we invite her to the potluck? Maybe bring everyone together will help her share her story." Lily felt a mix of excitement and dread. While she loved the idea of connection, she also feared provoking more pain. "Do you think she'll feel comfortable?" Clara placed a gentle hand on Lily's shoulder. "Sometimes people need a little nudge to open their hearts. Food does that, it creates a safe space." Lily nodded, feeling her resolve strengthen. "All right, let us do it. After the potluck, if she's ready, we can talk." After the decision was made, they spent the rest of the afternoon planning and discussing what other dishes could be brought. Laughter filled the kitchen, but a shadow loomed in the background. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, Lily's thoughts drifted back to Mrs. Johnson. What kind of memories did she hold that could connect them all? Stories of love? Heartbreak? She couldn't shake the feeling that this potluck could turn into a revelation, a catalyst for the community to not only share their food but share their lives. Later that evening, as she prepared to head to her small garden for a few late blooms, her phone buzzed. It was a message from Mrs. Johnson, asking if they could meet tomorrow. A knot formed in her stomach. What awaited in that conversation? The flutter of anticipation mixed with anxiety left her breathless. Lily felt the weight of the past and the hope of the future collide within her, both terrifying and exhilarating. As she looked out over her garden, a gorgeous sunset painting the sky, she whispered to the world around her, "What do you have in store for us?" The answer remained just out of reach, but she felt that tomorrow was the day their stories would begin to intertwine. What truths would emerge when they finally gathered to reveal what lay beneath the surface? Would they find healing in the shared weight of their pasts, or would the cracks begin to show? The next morning felt heavier than usual, as if the very air was charged with anticipation. Lily awoke with her heart racing, a nervous energy thrumming beneath her skin. Today was the day she would meet with Mrs. Johnson, and her mind churned with what could unfold. She hurried through her morning routine, grabbing a cup of coffee, the rich aroma failing to calm her nerves. Outside, the sun glinted through the leaves, casting dappled shadows on the pathway. As she stepped into her garden, she noticed the flowers had opened wider overnight, as if they too felt the weight of the moment. The vibrant colors and delicate petals felt like a personal invitation, urging her to embrace the day. Still, a sense of dread fluttered in her stomach. What if Mrs. Johnson didn't want to talk? Or worse, what if she opened a wound too deep to mend? The thought sent shivers down her spine. She took a breath, reminding herself of the mission she was on. Perhaps sharing the weight of their struggles would lead to healing. Before she could overthink it further, her phone buzzed. It was a reminder that it was time to meet at the cafe. She quickly gathered her things, the echo of laughter and chatter from the potluck preparations still buzzing in her ears. When she arrived, the cafe was bustling with the morning crowd. The aroma of baked goods filled the air, mingling with the sounds of clinking cups and friendly greetings. In the corner, she spotted Mrs. Johnson, sitting alone at a small table. An empty cup rested in front of her, and her hands clasped tightly around the saucer as if it were her anchor. "Mrs. Johnson?" Lily approached cautiously, her voice soft. The older woman looked up, her eyes reflecting both surprise and something deeper, a narrative waiting to be told. "Lily," she replied, a faint smile breaking through the storm clouds of her expression.
"Thank you for meeting me."
Lily sat across from her, feeling the weight of unspoken words hovering between them. "I'm glad you reached out," she said gently. "I've been hoping we could talk." Mrs. Johnson exhaled slowly, a sigh heavy with years of burden. It's been a long time since I've shared my story. I'm not sure where to begin." "Just start where it feels right," Lily encouraged. "I'm here to listen." The older woman stared at her cup, gathering her thoughts. Finally, she began. "My family has faced loss, unimaginable loss. My husband," her voice faltered, and the shadow of grief crossed her face. "He was a good man, dedicated to our community, but tragedy struck and I never found the courage to share it." With each word, the silence in their corner felt charged with emotion. Lily sat forward, her heart racing uncomfortably as the stories spilled forth. The laughter and the joy had long since left Mrs. Johnson, and in its place lay fragility wrapped in sorrow. As the minutes passed, Lily felt a connection emerge. Mrs. Johnson's pain echoed in her heart, mirroring her own uncertainties. It was as if they were both navigating through the wreckage of their pasts, slowly piecing together fragments that once felt shattered beyond recognition. Tears welled in Mrs. Johnson's eyes, and she took a deep breath. "It's hard to speak of love and loss, you know. It weighs like a stone in your chest." Their eyes locked, and for a brief moment, Lily understood that this conversation was more than just sharing stories. It was about forging bonds stronger than them, made of shared experiences and the acknowledgement of pain. The moment hung between them, filled with emotion. "You're not alone, Mrs. Johnson," Lily whispered. "You never have to carry this alone." Mrs. Johnson's gaze softened, and for the first time, something shifted in her expression, a flicker of hope amidst the shadows. As they continued their conversation, the noise of the cafe faded away, and the world outside seemed to hold its breath. They were at the cusp of something profoundly transformative. What revelations awaited them both in the moments ahead? Would the power of sharing stories be enough to mend the wounds that lingered in their hearts? As the morning light streamed through the cafe windows, illuminating their table, Lily felt an emotional tide swell between her and Mrs. Johnson. Each exchanged story was like a small thread, weaving a tapestry of shared experiences that connected them deeper than she had ever anticipated. "I closed myself off, convinced that my pain was mine to bear," Mrs. Johnson said, her voice a whisper touched with vulnerability. "But when you offered to listen, something shifted. It felt like maybe I could trust again." Lily's heart swelled. "Let us share this trust then. Not just between us, but with everyone at the potluck. Imagine if we all laid bare our stories, grief, joy, hope, the things that mold us. We can celebrate what we've been through as a community," she suggested with growing excitement. A tentative smile formed on Mrs. Johnson's lips. "Gathering around food has a way of breaking down walls, doesn't it?" "Yes. Every dish has a tale hidden within, waiting to be told." You don't just bring a meal, you bring a piece of your heart, Lily beamed. The thought of the potluck was brightening, transforming from worry to possibility. As their conversation continued to unfold, Lily felt emboldened by Mrs. Johnson's willingness to share. Suddenly, a spark lit up the older woman's eyes. Perhaps we could invite people to come prepared to share not only recipes but their stories too. A community storytelling. Yes, that's brilliant. Lily replied, her excitement bubbling over. Let us encourage everyone to reflect on their past. If we can open those doors just a little, who knows what healing might happen. Mrs. Johnson nodded, energized by the idea. This could be a fresh start for Maplewood and for me. When we gather, we can create a safe space for emotions to flow, a platform to embrace our collective past and move forward. Together, they drafted a plan. Each attendee would be encouraged to bring a dish and a story tied to it. They would set aside a time during the potluck for sharing, an opportunity to bond over not just food, but memories that shaped them. The day of the potluck arrived bright and clear, with eager anticipation hanging in the air. The community center, festooned with colorful streamers, buzzed with excitement as families and friends set out their dishes on long tables lined with checkered tablecloths. Lily stepped back, taking it all in. Her heart raced with joy as she watched people mingling, exchanging smiles and stories. Each dish carried a history of love, loss, and laughter. As the clock struck, Lily took the stage with Mrs. Johnson at her side. The murmurs quieted, turning into a sea of curious faces. Thank you all for being here, Lily began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. Today is about so much more than good food. It's about sharing who we are and the experiences that brought us here. Cheers erupted, lifting her spirits. Just then, she saw Mrs. Johnson nodding encouragingly, reminding her of the strength they had cultivated through their conversation. Let us open our hearts, Mrs. Johnson added. Every recipe we share today reflects a part of our journey. Perhaps through our stories, we might find common ground, healing, understanding, and a new beginning. Let us create a bridge back to one another. One by one, attendees began to step forward, each revealing their dishes and the stories embroidered within. Laughter mixed with tears filled the room as people embraced the vulnerability of sharing. A boy spoke of his late grandmother's chocolate chip cookies, recalling those baking lessons seasoned with love and laughter. A woman narrated a tale of a soup passed down through generations, each spoonful tasting of heritage and celebration. Lily felt her heart swell with warmth as stories layered upon stories came alive. Laughter echoed, finding a rhythm of hope. As the sun set outside, the room glowed with understanding, illuminating the small transformations occurring within each person. The threads connecting them became unmistakably vibrant, a tapestry of resilience unfurling before their eyes. But then, just as the chatter reached its peak, Mrs. Johnson stood up, smiling albeit with a hint of nervousness. I've got something to share. It's time I revealed a part of my story, she said, gathering the attention of all present. A hush fell over the crowd, the weight of anticipation palpable. I was hesitant to share my burdens, thinking they were just mine to carry. But I realized that together we can lift these weights, she began, revealing the loss of her husband, intertwining her silence with the love he once spread throughout Maplewood. The room was silent, each person hanging on her words. The honesty of the moment sent ripples through the crowd, stirring a realization in their hearts that they were stronger together. At that moment, Lily felt the gravity of her own journey, of everything she had shared and learned. It was a moment of connection, a moment where wounds could begin to heal in the warmth of community. As the evening grew darker, everyone emerged from their shells, supporting one another, sharing not just food but love, laughter, and healing. Stories woven through time began to echo back through the generations. And Lily, standing on the sidelines, looked around. The former misunderstandings began to dissolve, replaced by bridges of acceptance, understanding, and friendship weaving into the very fabric of Maplewood. As the last of the stories were shared and the remnants of dinner cleared away, there was a newfound spirit alive in the room. Lily stood with her mom, her heart bursting with gratitude, hope, and a sense of belonging she had always dreamed of. Together, they had transformed Maplewood. Not just a bakery, but a home space where every slice of life contributed to a greater whole. In all their stories and shared moments, the spirit of Maplewood was reborn, standing resilient against the layered tapestry of both past and future. And as that evening's conversations lingered, Lily knew they had created something beautiful, a shared heartbeat that would not only serve well but thrive, echoing through the corners of Maplewood's beloved streets for all time. Now, it was time to celebrate and continue this journey. Together as one. The realization hit her like a sunrise. Every moment mattered, and every story was vital. It was the heart of their community, resonating louder than ever. As they packed up for the night, a small voice echoed in her mind, a call for unity and love. Maplewood was ready for its next chapter, and they were going to write it together. Make it a good one. If you resonated with Lily's journey and the heartwarming transformation of Maplewood, then you need to subscribe to the channel now to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this joy alive. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Your thoughts matter. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together, we can spread hope and community.